Hey guys, good afternoon. All right, just getting the chat set up on the other computer. So I see it is live. All right, cool. Let me get the chat up and going so that I can see you guys live as well. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. Another volatile day in the market. I hope you saw that I put on my Twitter today that it was going to be a volatile day because of all of the announcements that we have going on. Just getting comfortable. Aloha, Kawakawa. I hope. Hey, John. All right, where's Bat Scientist? He's late to the party today. Just kidding. All right, let's get into. I got the White House up. The big drama of the elections going on today. Well, not today, but the impending elections. I saw some stuff on politicalchatter.com about potentially things with Obama and Osama bin Laden and them having in hand early. So who knows if that's true, if it will be leaked later. Maybe they're waiting for optimal timing. Hey, John. Lots of Johns here today. All right, let's move over to the SPY. And I also have some other great things to show you guys on silver as well. And I've got a bigger picture on Tesla. So we've got the SPY. It tested and ran above earlier today, ran up here to 30.50, which you can see back on, that would be, today is Friday, Wednesday. We were there on Wednesday, and it was really an area of resistance on Wednesday. Now we've come back down. This is a 15-minute chart. We're on the 21 EMA and the 20 SMA. It started to curl over a little bit, and it was really following the 21 up, came all the way down here. So maybe they're going to pull it back down to 347. Let's pull it on the side so you guys can see it too. We'll put a daily chart on the left here. All right. So on the daily chart, it's still really bullish, right? We have a bit of a doji day. We have this trend line here from the past that we are bouncing off of right now. So that is something to definitely watch as well. You can see right here, it broke above. And then once we really broke above it, it surged higher. And now it's testing that a bit as support. So I would look for, hey, if we can break below 348.87, potentially a move down to test down here around that 348 area, the low of Wednesday's candle, right? Because right now we're just sort of an indecision doji day, but we are still up. We gapped up, and there's a potential for it to run up higher. All right, also the Qs. So we'll check out the Qs. Same scenario. We're starting to see a little bit of a trend line here on the daily chart to the downside, but we are still respecting the upward channel. So maybe this is simply, hey, this was this past week, right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, down at the bottom of the channel and right back up. And are we going to close above this downward trend today? If we close above this trend line, I like it better on a 45-minute chart. Let's pull it over on a 45-minute chart. That if we close up above this, we could easily gap all the way back up to 299 and then potentially see further moves. We do have a lot of tech stocks coming out next week with some earnings. For today, let's go to the calendar for today. It's been packed with announcements from FOMC speakers at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. This is the European market. Hey, Asif, good, thank you. Then we also have FOMC Kashari speaking after 5 p.m. For today. So a lot of the big announcements have already, oh, excuse me, that was yesterday. Here we are for today. We have the International Monetary Fund policy meetings that were announced. We have the tentative federal budget balance coming out. The prior was negative 200.1 billion, and they're estimating negative 123 billion for this time. And 4 p.m. the long-term purchases. They're expecting it to be higher than it was. So that should be interesting as well for the rest of the day. So again, I would look if we can close above 292.50, potentially a big gap up going into Monday. If we happen to close down and we can get all the way down below 288, watch out, maybe we're going to gap all the way back down to 280 for the SPY. Looking at the VIX, VXX, which also measures the put ratio for the S&P 500, had a bit of volume right here. It's sort of like a double bottom, but when we back it out, it really is still in that downward trend. Well, that seems to be apparent because most of the market is long. So ASIF nice and keeping that a smaller loss and nice positives there. We can look at it and we'll look at the chart and see. All right, so looking at the charts for today. So I had Boeing on my list for potential move to the upside. On our daily chart, we did hit the moving averages and pulled back. And I also want to tell you guys, if you want to learn more about the dark pool, I am a big follower of the dark pool. Come on over to the training pit. Definitely do a lot of teaching over there Mondays and Thursdays. You guys will learn all about the dark pool, which is where the really big guys trade, and how to follow them, how to trade efficiently as well. And here we have Boeing. It was up on the day, and I said, hey, if we can break down below 170.20, potential short, had a nice little low down to 168.34, so a $2 move to the downside right there. NEO, the beast mode that it's been in, could we break above? No. In fact, it broke down, had resistance up at 29 and pulled back to the support level that I had of 28. So really not a trade on NEO unless you wanted to scalp on the inside. Yeah, I'll pull it up, Joe. It's getting to be fall weather here with rain and chilliness, and so I love having my tea. If you guys have not checked out rooibos tea and moringa, I love them. I love rooibos and moringa tea. Not together, separately. All right, Fastly. So Fastly had a big gap down yesterday. They had pulled back on their guidance, and they said, listen, we are expected to have lower projections for the quarter, which many times when they lower it, then they're able to exceed it. And when they actually report, might actually be a run up, because then they might say, oh, you know what, when we're looking at it, it's actually going to be better, and we will see. They did bring it back down to this moving average. Maybe the really big guys didn't buy enough there yesterday, right? If we look at it, we're pretty much at the low of yesterday again. And here's the thing, it wasn't their actual earnings announcement. This was just a preemptive earnings announcement. Now last time, look at what happened. It did pull back, pulled down here, and then it surged higher again. We have had this range in which they were trading. So maybe they brought it down, they were hitting this resistance on the daily chart. They want to get back in and load up right here before they could potentially take it higher. Any event, this is, it was 30% off yesterday. It's kind of like a Black Friday sale or a Prime deal, right? They gave us the Prime deal for Fastly. So that's pretty cool to see when you look back at it. Really, it has had some pretty stellar earnings where every time we have earnings, the one time was back here, February of 2020, which, okay, most stocks went down February of 2020, but for the most part, after earnings, it tends to run up. So this might be a potential longer term swing as well. Disclosure, I did buy some yesterday at 87.90, so it's down just a little bit, but there's still a large potential upside, and this is my stop that I'm looking at right here. So if it were to go below here, then hey, okay, I'm gonna get out, but I'm looking to my risk reward, hey, $5 to the downside to potentially $40 to the upside. All right, Pfizer. So Pfizer, we have it hitting my favorite 425 on the daily over here. It's sort of been trading sideways. I gave it a pretty wide range today, 90 cents. It tends to have smaller range candles, nothing like Tesla. And it is really just not doing much of anything right now. Went up to 37.60, pulled back to 37.30, and now on the way back up. So will we close above 37.65? We're right there at that 425, which you can see really has been holding as support on the 45-minute chart. So Tesla had a nice move up this morning, opened up higher, pulled back to our 8 EMA over here on the daily chart, and now it has bounced. Potential to have this run up and break this downward trend. We're still in the upward trend. Now I want to pull up the daily chart overall. DraftKings, you know what, John? It has to do likely with the quarantining of some players. I know a friend that does work as a producer for ESPN, and he knows that some of the teams, I want to say maybe it was the Broncos. I don't know. I'm not a sports person and I don't really watch ESPN, but I know from him that there was something to do with sports players, ESPN, and quarantining with COVID. All right, so looking at Tesla, had a nice bear trade here down to the moving average, right? And then this is a potential buy zone, take it up. We could push up further. I meant to do the daily chart, not the 45-minute chart, so let's go over here. You can see I have a pretty wide range on this, and this is a daily upward chart. Maybe I'll tighten it in just a little bit to right here, to the high of this candle right here. So we can see we might hit the upper bound up here. We do have earnings coming up next week, right? So maybe they're going to have it run up into earnings and then drop it back down. You know, that would still be a $100 drop, but it would be in the upward channel. So just my thoughts on it. We're really riding this up. Hey, if we look back here, same sort of scenario in that we have the ascending triangle set up, and it took a while for it to break. Then once it broke, look at how it ran up. Now remember, this did split obviously, but it went ahead and it surged higher here as well, breaking the resistance of 193.80. Once it broke strong, boom, up to 359. So that was a nice $150 move. I don't think that this has a $150 move coming, potentially a $50 move to the upside, and then a $100 retracement. You know, that's my thoughts, is to get in when it comes back down, exit when it gets close to the upper bounds, come back down, exit, trade it in that upward channel until it breaks it one way or the other. If it were to penetrate us to the downside, okay, then gonna go ahead and get out. Yeah, Kyle, for sure. Let me add on DKNG, DPZ, and CRUS. All right. So we have DraftKings right here. So DraftKings was on my short list, and let's pull it back. Over here, it did break down below 44.50, and during the middle of the day, it came down, hit 43.50, a nice $2 move to the downside. But all of this yesterday really came, I mean, it's in a downward channel overall, a little bit of a head and shoulders setup, right, to the downside. Oh, I want to show you guys something too that I noticed this morning. So we have a bit of a downside. Hey, yeah, look, we almost hit this 43.50. When we back it up, any wonder when you pull it back, you see that bigger perspective, that there's a support level there. So this might be a better entry. It's looking oversold on the stochastics. My thought process is most things are bullish. They do have the retracement period, but if you hold it in that longer term, yes, this will go to the upside unless there's negative news. Many times pharmaceuticals, those can just drop like a rock. Especially potentially some that are talking about COVID, right? I want to show you another, I've got some good ones to show you guys for potential swings. Why will it not delete? All right, let's move forward. So we have BP as well. So BP has just gotten beaten down. And if we look at it on a weekly chart over here on the left, you'll see that it's really setting up for that H, right? We come down, bounce up, and now we have that H. if we can break below the lows over here, you can see we had massive, massive volume right here. If it breaks below 1550, right, then we might see this pull back even further. Let's see, 5 years. This is the lowest it's been in 5 years. All time, maybe down to 1380, and then down to 1160, or that $12 mark right there. But overall, this isn't looking like a super healthy chart. You want to wait until it's on that upward swing, right? Okay, Yandex as well. Let's look at Yandex. That was on my potential short. We have that same look of a downward motion. Potentially, we'll test down here at 58.72. If it pulls back just a little bit further, maybe over here to 58 on the downside. So Yandex is also like China's Google, but I'm hesitant to invest in Chinese stocks with everything that's going on with the Chinese market, Trump, trade wars, and everything like that. Nikola, amazing short today. Look at that. Breaking down below 22.85. Had a nice move to the downside down to 19.75. Would look to see if it can hit that 425 on the daily over here. Is it going to come all the way back down to that price is, nope, that's not what I wanted. 18, is that $18? No. Yeah? Yeah, $18 over there on the daily. All right, and Guild. This is one, had it on my short list for today. When we look at this on, let's look at it on a monthly chart. You guys will see this is at a multi-point support area. If this fails, we might see it then come back down to 54.50. However, if we start to see a whole lot of buying power coming in, we had buying power coming in January with remdesivir. This is one of the things that they gave to Trump that's an antiviral medicine. And so potentially, I haven't seen a whole bunch, actually I haven't done research on this because I just started looking at the chart. Okay, I'll check Peloton. Maybe it's a good time to get in, John. If it finds a support area, we'll look at it. And so if we start to see more dark pool volume coming in, this might be good to get into. Look at last time that it was down low like this. It was down here at 63, ran it up to 89.50. We might see the move down here at 62 up to that 50 simple moving average on the monthly, up at $71 from down here. And then if it breaks that, up to roughly $79 from here, and then above that we could likely head back up to 120. So that's something to keep on watch. Is the 425 EMA or SMA? EMA, exponential. Joe. All right, plug. Let's get into plug. All right, so plug. They had downward motion, right? It had consolidation up here for 2 days, had a high that they could not break, right? And then it continued to the downside over here. On the monthly, we don't want to look at the monthly. On the daily chart, it has a pretty steep trend down. It was really overextended. You can see when we start to get really far away from these moving averages, you can see every time it's happened in the past, it comes back. It comes back to this 21 or 20, almost hit the 50 here. And it seems like it likes to draw back down almost to that 50 simple moving average on the daily. So this might come all the way back down. I'd look at 1350 for a couple of reasons. The 50 simple moving average on the daily, this has a resistance that would likely be flipped to support. It would be a gap fill as well on the monthly chart over here. And then see if the volume comes in and all of a sudden it shoots up higher on this trend line. It would need to break this daily trend line here. And when we look at this stock went parabolic, right? So when we're looking at it from the parabolic side, for that upward trend, when you have that parabolic move up, it tends to break pretty quickly and pretty hard. So it did break down and it's hitting almost the 15 EMA on the daily. Here it hit it, bounced, hit it, bounced, then it broke down further and came up, hit it, bounced, broke down further, almost hit the 50, came up above, hit the 50 again. So if the patterns repeat itself, if it hits, bounce, and then drops, would be looking for $15.49, $15, and then down to $13.50. Maybe it would find some support right here at $14.20 because of this former resistance area right there. So we might have another one right here at $14.20 right there. All right, DPZ. Have you been ordering Domino's, Kyle? I'll look at LAC for you. Goat liver. All right, so Domino's Pizza. Now, when we look back at it seasonally, right? If we go back and we look at the season for Domino's Pizza, it tends over last year, pulled back in August, and then it just really surged higher. Had a pullback in March, as the entire stock market did, right? Came down to the 200 simple moving average. So now this is somewhat on a downward trend on the daily chart. We have rolled over, had a big gap down, rolled over, and it seems as if it's finding support potentially right here after its earnings on the moving average right here. So is it going to break up above? It would need to really break above, in my opinion, the 50 simple moving average. You can see when it hits that, breaks above that 50 simple moving average, finally it did it right here. Then look at how long it really, okay, this is sort of a blip on the radar, March 31st, but it really just rode it right up until June 26th. So we're looking at roughly 3 months, and if you'd given it a little bit of wiggle room even, then you could have ridden this all the way up. Hey, the really next big break was up here roughly 3 months later in September. So it seems like it tests it almost every 3 months. Maybe it's going to come back down to the 200 or this moving average right here, which we did hit, right? It's been bouncing off of that once and twice. If this fails, there's no more buyers there, then it will likely come back down here. And you can see also the buying area right here where we found support was a support area and resistance. So you got to put all the puzzle pieces together. All right, CRUS, so cruise. This one, Cirrus, excuse me, it looks like it's run up and is pulling back down. Obviously, I drew this before it had that upward trend right here. It does have earnings coming, so maybe they are going to pull this back down and then surge it up into earnings. Hey Google, next song. All right, let's see, let's adjust this because now this is the new high, right? So it would need to break up from there. And much like, what was it? DraftKings that had that crazy upward run. Look at this. This had a pretty steep run up, and once that run up broke, it broke quickly. And it's hitting the 200 simple moving average. So I would watch to see, is it going to hold on this 200 simple moving average? Is it going to pull back down to 67.50 or even down to $67 over here? Maybe even all the way down here to 66.90 where we had resistance in the past. All right, Peloton. Peloton doesn't look like it's really getting slammed. It looks like it simply had a pullback to the moving averages on the day, John. If you're used to it constantly going up, it might seem like an anomaly, but look at, you had all these up days and then it pulled back. Look, pretty much the moving average. Where is it right now? It's just above the moving average. So that's actually a lower risk entry potentially for the long side on Peloton. So I wouldn't enter it right now, the middle of the day, because it's not a good time for it. But looking at Peloton, it seems as if it's really pulling back just to the moving averages. Every time that it goes away, it pulls back. Away, pulls back. Right? So keep that in mind. If it started to go below 126.50, I would get worried if I was long Peloton, which is still a $5 move, roughly 3%. But for the most part, it's just following that upward trend up. You can see the moving averages, right? And that's just a bit of a retracement on the day. This day had higher volume. If it can close up above that close there at 132, I would still feel bullish on Peloton. All right, LAC, Lithium Americas Corp. This, in my opinion, looks like we have a potential move down here to 1134, but it would need to break the 1195 right here, this 20 simple moving average. Then as a target, I would look for 1142 down to 1056. And then if that breaks down to 970, down to 940 over here for the 50 simple moving average. So it does look like it has potential, but it's also a little extended away from the moving averages. So you can see this day, when it closed lower, was a good short day, and then it opened right here, right on the 15 EMA, dropped down, came back up, another lower entry. Good time to enter would have been potentially this morning, closer to the moving averages. It's less risk. Right now, it's about to take out the candlestick from the day prior, which would be a bullish candlestick, bearish engulfing. And it might retrace back up. So you would have to be aware that your loss potential might be from 1210 up to 1271 right there on the daily. All right. Do you guys have anything else you want to check out? I do have to go and run to Ticker Talker. I will be on their channel live. And also check out, yeah, my pleasure. Check out my Ticker Talker roundtable that I did on Wednesday. It's on their YouTube channel. And I will see you all on Sunday. We'll do the live watch list. So come check it out Sunday at 1:30. Also, check out the link down below if you guys want to win a free day trading quick start guide. They gave me the book to review and one to give to you guys. So check it out and sign up to win. It will be announced on November 1st. All right. Have a great weekend. See you.